Okay, so part three, we're going to just start snapping together the modular assets so I can start building a kind of level. So normally you kind of would white box first, but we're going to make something just look a little more visually and aesthetically pleasing. So you want to kind of start finding some modular assets. Obviously, you can build your own. You can certainly build your own using Pro Builder. So you can start building, for instance, if we just go back to the Pro Builder menu, we can start building a street using. But this is really for kind of when you're whiteboxing and you've got a move set and you've got a character and you want to start testing things out. In our case, we're trying to make something, just an example of a linear or a straight on level design. So what I've done is I have cheated a bit and I have I'm utilising a thing called Revelation Z post-apocalyptic landscape, which was about €30. So this this isn't really a kind of snappable pack that works with Pro Grids. If you want one of those, you kind of want to start downloading the Pro Builder assets, which this is what we just downloaded. But if we look at these things called snaps, so you get loads of free assets that are quite cheap if you want specific assets free. So you've got some office assets there. Snaps prototype train station, €9. Uh, so there are quite a lot of free Pro Builder assets out there which are directly designed to work with Pro Builder and will snap perfectly. But otherwise, the other places you kind of want to look for these things are, if you go into Turbo Squid, you can find lots of free modular assets, brick wall pack, modular game ready assets. Nice people have built these. Just be a little bit careful you don't use assets like that. So I shall say no more. And other things like kit bashing, kit bash 3D, which these are used by professional video game companies, as we can see down here. But you can actually purchase these. Sometimes they have sales on or free giveaways of certain elements. So these are okay, so we've got a mini cyberpunk kit here which is free, but these are much higher polygon model sets. But anyway, so you can find assets anywhere basically these days. You don't need to be spending hours and hours building amazing and beautiful assets for your game when there's 7,000 tons of them floating around online. So what I'm going to do now is I've just taken some assets out of the apocalyptic world asset pack. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in a road, for instance, and what I'm going to do is just use my V again. So this really isn't designed to be compatible with the Pro Grids, so you'll end up having a lot of fiddling if you do try and use it with that. So let's just Control C, Control D to get another one of those. And the reason that is because unless it's specifically designed as a snaps pack, what's going to happen is that if we just we've got grid snapping on, so if I just build a new shape here like so, and without confusing you too much, if we just kind of right, what I'll do is I'll just bear with me a moment. So all I'm going to do is I've got this Pro Builder object here, and Pro Builder, as I say, is mainly for kind of white boxing. But we'll note here that this is not a metric chunk of geometry. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not 8 meters. It's 7 and a bit meters, which doesn't really work. You can start fiddling with your scales, but for the purposes of this exercise, I would just suggest either use one of the Pro Builder snap packs, or just fine, or just don't use Pro Grids. But Pro Grids is hugely useful for whiteboxing, and that's primarily using actually building geometry within Unity using Pro Builder is a fantastic way of quickly whiteboxing your level. Anyway, rambling on. So let's have a quick look. Let's drag one of these buildings in, for instance. Let's if I can. So sometimes if you're using Pro Builder and you have it on face mode, you can't select your objects, which confuses you, very similar to when you do it in Maya. So we can see that there's a disparity between these textures. I mean, so I've built my textures and I'm just keeping them in for the sake of showing you that you can use your own modular facades. So grids is actually still on, snapping is still on, but I'm just going to start building up a level. So Control C, Control D. I'm going to just V that. And then I'm going to just start building up a kind of street, okay, and what I'll do is I'll start blocking it off in time-honoured apocalyptic fashion so that you can't run up any of the side streets. So I shall just build up a small area and then we'll move on.